Hello and welcome everyone to Gamersledge Podcast. I am your host, Mark. Thanks for joining us tonight. Gamersledge Podcast is a look at the video gaming industry, a look at what it means to be a hardcore gamer, and of course a conversation amongst friends. Joining us this week, starting at a far left, is the man with the halo about his silvery head. It's Dave. It looks like there's a light source directly behind your head.
Sure, we'll go with that.
It could be behind Ratchet, I'm not sure. But, yes.
Whatever works.
Also joining us tonight is, of course, Matt. How are you, Matt?
Howdy, doing well.
And I am one of your hosts, Mark. Thanks for joining us this evening. We've got lots to cover. It's a veritable Newsplosion this last week after E3, all the dust settled. But let's start, as we always do, by going around the room and talking about what we've been doing for the last week, whether it be watching something or playing something. Dave, you want to start?
Sure. I've still playing Zelda. That's a constant, kind of thing. I'm taking in like small bites now. I did accidentally beat the game. Did we talk about that last week? Or
don't
did
think
that
so.
happen? Did that happen in between?
That happened in between, I think.
Okay, I accidentally beat it last week. I was like at the last part. I was just kind of like roaming around the castle, just trying to explore a little bit, and then accidentally triggered the final boss fight, and I was like, oops. So then I just kind of went back into the game. The game doesn't. It lets you continue, but it actually starts you before the boss fight. So it just kind of blanks out the boss fight. There is a star next to the game save saying that you have beaten the game, I guess. But other than that, you just go back into the world and just keep going about your business.
Nice.
So,
congratulations.
So yeah, but it was kind of like anticlimactic because I didn't want to do it. So that kind of sucked. So we're still working on that. I think I have about a little over probably 30 shrines to go, I guess. Starting to just like get away there, then take out like all the side quests and stuff. I'm just still having a lot of fun with that. Learning all the little I'm finding a bunch of secrets along the way that I didn't realize were like secrets. I thought it was just something here. I stumbled onto something, that's kind of like a whoa. You're not supposed to find that. So that's kind of cool. Love all the little stuff in that. It continues just to be a great game. I downloaded the it's called Next Machina, the new Housemarque game. It's actually also helped with design by Eugene Jarvis of like Robotron Defender fame. And it shows it is basically a, if Housemarque, kind of made an update to Robotron is very much what it feels like. It has like the saving humans mechanic and everything like that, but it's just it's a great twin stick shooter, what you're used to from Housemarque. However, I need to be sharp to play it. It is extremely, I even had it set to easy, but I'm not sure if easy actually makes it easier or just gives you unlimited continues. But man, that game was kicking my ass. There was a lot going on the screen. You really have to pay attention of like your surroundings and everything as you're being swarmed by bad guys and as you're trying to save the humans. So it's very much an 80s. He's just walking away. What is this? What is this? I will not be ignored.
I'm not ignoring you.
It's okay. You got the whole internet watching you. Continue.
Yes. Hi, person. It's very much an 80s arcade game. Extremely. You can tell just by everything about it. And, that's kind of wonderful for a person like me who's old and remembers when that stuff was new. Definitely a challenge. There's some gameplay mechanics if you're familiar with other Housemarque games, like Super Stardust. Where you have the dash moves and everything. A lot of that stuff's already in there. There's lots of weapon upgrades you can get. So lots of fun to be had there. I'm very much looking forward to digging into that more. I didn't realize that the full throttle update came out, so I downloaded that. I haven't got a chance to play that yet. And probably the one I've been playing the most this week is actually another game I missed. I realized it came out because Nintendo doesn't really advertise anything on their store. Is Bye Bye Box Boy. I know it's a series that you guys don't think actually exists, but it does. And I've played all three and beaten all. Well, I'm on my way to beating the third. So it's actually...
Unless Little Orphan Annie sings the theme song to it, I do not believe it's real.
Dude, I'm telling you, this is a real thing. I've been playing these games, since they've been releasing them, and they're awesome. HAL Laboratories does them. It's of Kirby fame, so it's got a nice little charm to it. It's great. It's a simple, kind of like puzzle game. It adds to the previous games. There's more stuff in it, as you're making blocks. Now sometimes in some of the levels you have rocket blocks that actually let you fly, or let you solve puzzles that way, where you have to press buttons up, so you have to make a little shape and have it rise to the ceiling to push a button, and avoid stuff. It's an excellent little puzzle game. I'm gonna miss it. I'm really upset that they're actually ending it, and it's definitive. This is the last one they're making. It's $6 in the Nintendo download store. It's if you have a 3DS, there's no reason not to own this game. It is cheap. It is well done. It is fun to play. Lots of little unlockables in it. I'm stuck on one little puzzle right now where it's just I know there's something simple you got to do, and it's just it's not hitting me just yet. But then you pick it up, a few hours later, and you're just oh yeah, duh, why didn't I think of that beforehand? It's one of those kind of games where it's just great to keep going back to. So yeah, it's a great little series. I highly recommend that. I'm caught up on American Gods, Better Call Saul, which is one of the best TV shows on right now. Both were the season enders. They're fantastic. Watch both of them. Trying to think of what else. Watching Homeland. I mean, I've been watching that with my wife a lot. We're kind of caught up on the most recent stuff so we can get ready for the new season. And then I actually missed the beginning of it, so we're actually going back and rewatching the show from the start. Fantastic show, actually. Really good stuff. One of those shows that's really good about pacing. At the end of every episode, you're just really? So it's a pretty good one to watch. I like shows like that. And that's about it for me, I think.
Matt, how about you?
Excuse me. Let's see. I think the game I've put the most time into this week is actually... No, that'd be a lie. But in the last couple of days, it's actually Super Metroid. The post E3 or E3 Nintendo had a sale on its store. Some of the older games from series that they announced games for. So if you wanted to buy the Super Nintendo Mario Kart or different things, and two of the games that were on there were Super Metroid, i.e. Metroid 3, and Link to the Past. And Link to the Past is the one Legend of Zelda game that my middle son, who loves all things Zelda, hasn't played. So he went to town and got a Nintendo points card and bought that. And after the $4 for that, he had $6 left. Is well, sure, I like Metroid too. So he bought the Metroid one. And then I think I'm the only one that's played it since he's bought them.
Nice.
He was originally going to get it on his 3DS, but it turns out both of those you need the new Nintendo 3DS to get the eStore version of, and he has the classic version of the 3DS. He actually has the Legend of Zelda edition that came with the sequel to Link to the Past.
That is actually the reason I have a new 3DS.
So, yeah, we got him on the Wii U instead. So.
Nice.
So Keegan was playing Breath of the Wild on the Switch tablet. Mitchell was playing Life is Strange on the TV, and I was playing Super Metroid on the Wii U tablet. So I think that's the first time we've ever had three consoles running in the same room at the same time, two being used as handhelds. Although that tablet is a terrible controller. Dear Lord, that's horrible.
The Wii U tablet?
Yeah, just it's heavy, but then just forgetting to like select and start. It's like I can't, just hit select to change to missiles. It's too far away. You can't get that quick when you're using it as a tablet. But I'm working around it. So yeah, those have been the things I've done the last couple of days. Over the weekend, I did finish the main story of Witcher 3.
Matt, push your camera down. You're doing a... Well, okay, that's a little far. That's good. Perfect, thank you.
Okay. So I finished the main story of Witcher 3.
Which Witcher 3 did you finish?
I kind of want to play it again because now knowing some of the things that I know about how the structure of the game works,
now I can play it right.
I can go back, and play it right. Exactly.
It'll only take me another 900 million days.
Well, no, I mean the new game plus is pretty good. You have all of your gear, all of your skills. The only items you don't have are the story items.
So
but it does scale. What?
You have all your flowers?
Yeah. I have all my flowers.
Wow,
sweet.
That's a lot of
so all your
flower
crafting stuff and all that stuff. Yeah, that's all there. The only thing that's not there is your story items, and your level, with your gear and everything. So my fully upgraded Wolf Witcher gear set is still there. Only problem is the enemies are all also leveled to match. So I went into that first battle thinking I was going to be fighting level 1 ghouls. No, level 39 ghouls. Son of a... Okay, so that kind of took the wind out of my sails about playing it again quick through just to do the story stuff that I missed. I didn't miss, but I messed up for some trophies. And also realized I somehow missed an early Gwent quest. So the fact that I was just hating Gwent because it was so hard was because I missed a thread early on that you start with the dwarf. What's his name?
Yeah.
Dang it. I can't think of his name. It starts with a Z. Yeah, I missed that quest thread. So I didn't have any of the legendary cards that you get from that thread. So like I didn't have Geralt until after I'd already won the tournament.
Oh, wow. You're like, it's so hard. I'm like, really not so much. But I didn't want to be like, you're a terrible gamer, Matt. I just couldn't figure out why you were having so much difficulty in that. Makes sense.
I missed this really early thread that you get really good cards from.
That's hilarious, kind of. Sorry.
Yeah. So I won Gwent on hard mode.
Yeah,
I'm like, how come everybody has a copy of me except me? This isn't any fair. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to have a copy of me, derp. Yeah. So
that's my favorite line of Geralt of his from the game. Everyone has a copy of me. Why don't I have a copy of me too?
Yes, exactly. Yes, that is a quote from the game. I'm intrigued to see where this is it Netflix that's doing the series?
Which series?
There's going to be a Witcher TV series.
Yes,
web video series or something.
I believe that is Netflix, yes.
So interested to see where that goes. It's supposed to follow the books more, I guess, than the game is currently, because after the first game, I guess CD Projekt Red went pretty liberal with their interpretation of the story. Yeah. So there's a lot of awkward, unnecessary adult stuff in the game. Okay, that was a horribly awkward adult scene that really served no purpose because hard polygons cannot press flesh properly, and it just looks weird. And
no, if you want to talk about awkward adult scenes, let's talk first episode of American Gods. That's awkward.
I haven't seen. Yeah, I haven't seen it. So
they went there.
They went there in big style. Yes,
we'll see that at some point.
They really went into it.
Make sure there are no children ever present anywhere in that series. Around that series.
Yeah.
Casual contact with that series. No mitosis with that series. Nothing.
Can't share toilet seats with that series.
No. No.
So yeah, overall, I mean, it's really well written. It's really well voice acted. It does have some horrible 90s fantasy tropes in it. I assume the series was written in the 90s because it's got all of the 90s fantasy tropes in it.
No, that's 20. That's only like 2013 or so.
That's the books were written in.
Oh no, I'm saying the game, which
right, but I'm assuming
right,
the material that's based on was
because
written.
they from my understanding they strayed pretty far from the books.
Okay,
so that they're basically on their own at this point.
Okay, well, somebody there is a fan of all the 90s fantasy tropes. So that some of that stuff was kind of eye-rolly, but overall, it's incredibly well written, incredibly well acted. It's a gorgeous game. I haven't finished all of the question marks in Skellige yet. That's the only zone I still have question marks. But that taking a boat from what are those called? The things with the barrels holding up the treasure chest, the smugglers, keep or
cash or whatever it is.
Going from those to those, that's just boring. I mean, okay, yes, I gotta jump out of the boat, I gotta swim over there, I gotta wait for the harpies or whatever version of it is to dive into the water, I can shoot them with my crossbow, and then I go collect the thing, and then it's all junk. You can't really use any of it, so you just go around and sell it. Or hoard it if you're me, because that's what I do. But yeah, I still have Heart and Stone and Blood and Wine to dig into yet, so I'll do that. I don't know how many hours each those are.
I want to say 30 each.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I've got plenty of stuff left to do then. I should get on that. I did something I normally don't do. I actually watched someone play the first episode of Life is Strange rather than having played it first before seeing it. So it's a nice little game. I definitely got to get into that. That's and by the way, if you don't know, if you got it through the Plus program, you have to actually go into the interface and download all the individual episodes. They don't all come in that one download, so you actually got to go into the game and download it. So just pro tip for the day. So I'm looking forward to digging into that. Let's see, what else did I do? Rock Band, we got promoted to silver tier. Bronze was really easy. We didn't play since like Friday of last week, and we were 95% for whatever it was. And so silver tier, I actually own all the songs already for the showcase songs for this week's challenge. So that's good. So that means I don't have to buy any new songs this week unless I want to. So yeah, Rock Band, Witcher, Metroid, Link to the Past, Doctor Who, redeemed itself quite a bit this last week. This was a much better episode than the last two.
Is it done or no?
No, there's one more episode left.
Was this week Blink, or was that last week? Wasn't that the name of it?
No. Blink is like a classic David Tennant episod.
Oh boy. Okay.
That was the introduction of the Weeping Angels.
Yeah. Even I knew that.
This last week, I don't remember what the title of it was, but it was set in like a Celtic era, Roman incursion into England era of history. But yeah, there's at least one more left. Might be two. I don't remember. And still no hint as to the whole what's going on with the regeneration or anything yet. So they kind of made it sound like that was going to be like a whole thread through the whole season initially, and they really haven't touched it at all much, except for one gimmicky thing they did. Yeah, let's see. Dark Matter. Still really digging that show. If you're looking for a pretty good science fiction adventure show, that one will definitely scratch the itch. Not too heady, but not dumb either. It's a good balance. And Shadowhunters has gone a little too YA for my taste. I may be dropping that one. The last couple episodes have just been, just kill me now.
That's why I stopped reading the books. I'm not joking. It was like, how many times are you gonna make the same dumb decisions? And drama central, and it's like, ugh, kill me now. I really like the present. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it is White Wolf, the role playing universe. Yeah, and basically, I thought it was really good until it got mired down in the YA angsty drama around book 6 or 7.
Well, we're only in the second half of season 2, and I'm already getting there. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably finish the season out.
So that I can ask without getting to spoilers, have they gone back to Homeland yet?
No.
Okay. Oh, wow. So they're still... Oh, okay.
Well, according to Mitchell, they've really messed some stuff up. So,
okay. I believe that.
So he implied that by now certain characters should be in Idris.
Ah, got it.
But
Idris Elba?
Yes.
That would be uncomfortable. All right.
Speaking of which, yeah, I think I'm done. that was the major stuff. Obviously, there's a stack of comic books behind me that's gotten ridiculously huge. No new Secret Empire book this week.
Yeah.
Just the supporting books, which are horrible. So not the individual title tie-ins, but the special short run ones.
Yeah. Did you manage to pick up that Deadpool one though?
I totally forgot.
Dang it.
I'll send me the issue number and I'll look it up.
All right, we'll do. Let's see. I have done a billion things this week. I had to write it all down, but when I put it in list format, it doesn't look like a lot, which is kind of disturbing because, like, I really spent a lot of time doing stuff this week, so I expected it to be more than what it actually was. Let's see. I finished Sherlock season 3.
Sounds like my life.
Yeah, I know. I finished Sherlock
Short list,
season.
Disappointing.
Yeah, Sherlock season 3. I am getting ready to start season 4, which is the last season. The Great British Bake Off finished season 3. That's still amazing. Season 4 just went up on Netflix, so if you are addicted to that.
I did actually start checking that out based on your recommendation. That show gives me anxiety.
It's super, super anxiety. And it's hard because they're all nice.
Yeah, they ask people to do stuff on that show, and it's just like, this is like, I bake cookies. I bake damn good cookies. But that's it. Like, I understand, like, I don't call myself a baker. Like, they're like, oh, you're an excellent baker. No, I make cookies. Like, and I have that down, but the stuff that they were doing on that show, it actually caused me anxiety watching them trying to pull this stuff off, and I'm like...
But they're all very super civil and helpful to each other during the process, which is crazy.
It is very pleasant. It's a nice... I like that, that whole aspect of it.
And my wife loves Mary Berry. And you kind of remind me of Paul Hollywood, so that's good too. So yeah, the season 4 just came on, and we just finished like shotgunning season 3. So I know that will be in our future here shortly. And then the other thing we shotgunned the hell out of was Flash. Now that it's finally up, and I did something weird in that we did the crossovers before watching the other shows. So we watched the crossover with Legends of Tomorrow and Supergirl, and Arrow. Although it didn't go into Supergirl, but she was in it. But we watched the individual Arrow episode and Legends of Tomorrow episode for the crossover before actually watching the rest of the season of Legends of Tomorrow, which screwed a couple things up because...
things.
Yeah, lots of things that are not where season 1 left off at the end. So
we've watched Legends up to the crossover because then we were going to catch all of them up to that point and then watch the crossover and then continue. So yeah, a lot happens in the first half of that season.
Yeah.
The first part of that season.
Yeah, that's what we surmised once we saw who was there. The other Flash, by the way, I know I typed this in the chat at one point, but my wife turned to me and she's like, "I hope this show never ends." And I got a little tear in my eye because damn straight, this is like, if you're gonna do a superhero TV show, I am hard pressed to see how they would do it. And the end of this season is very interesting, which I cannot talk about at all. So I will be very interested to see how they approach it when they come back next season. That's
so since we're on the subject of the Flash.
Yes. Oh, we're gonna skip to the news stuff? Is that what you want to do?
Well, we're going to inject a little news. So, you know, what do you take on the rumor or information that Lord and Miller are now looking at potentially taking on the DCU Flash movie?
Well, so let's back up and give the full context. So,
I wasn't going to go that far, but
well,
okay.
I mean, otherwise people are going to be like, "What? Lord and Miller are working on Star Wars?" Yeah. So yeah, Lord and Miller, which were the comedy director team that was brought in to do the standalone Han Solo origin story. Apparently, the president of Lucasfilm and the writer of Empire, who wrote the script for this movie, did not like their take on how the Han Solo movie was coming along. And if you look at Rogue One had a similar issue, and they brought in like a director ringer to help the person get back on track. And that person was like, "Sure, whatever, I want my Disney paycheck," and did what he was supposed to, and they fixed Rogue One, which I like Rogue One. Actually, it's probably my favorite Star Wars movie. I like it that much. But apparently these guys were like, "No, we don't want to do that. That's dumb." And so Disney fired them. And so now it is rumored that they are in negotiations to possibly direct the Flash movie. I think that is nothing but good news, because Flash is supposed to be like Wonder Woman was super hopeful, like to a degree I was not expecting, because that's almost Barry levels of hope, in my opinion. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. I mean, granted, it was an origin story, and she's had 100 years to get past that, and I think we'll see some of that as we move forward in the DC Extended Universe. I don't think she's going to be as hopeful or as naive as she was in that movie, obviously. But Barry has always been the one that believes. And I think having that kind of comedy and that kind of hope infused into the movie, I think that would be a fantastic thing for the movie. Because what I do not want is the small snippets that we got in Batman. God, no. Please, anything but that. But what do you think?
I think that that's... I never really understood their pairing up for Star Wars. Unless they were going to do a Jar Jar Binks movie, I didn't really get the pairing of Lord and Miller in Star Wars. It's a very different, and I know some people were very excited about that. I was hopeful for it, but I've had very little hope for a young Han Solo movie since the idea was first tossed out there that was going to be one of these. It's a very daunting thing to try to take on. Now, Lawrence Kasdan wrote a script for Star Wars that probably has some of the best Han Solo moments in it ever. Now, granted, a lot of that is Harrison Ford. You know, he just does things that made that character, right? So, you know, it is his, as far as the Star Wars part of the story, I don't know that this makes me any less or more hopeful about the Han Solo movie than I was to start with, because I didn't have much hope for it to start with. I'm assuming we're looking at massive reshoots, wholly editing Batman, and hoping that they can super glue something together that's at least respectable. I don't know. But I mean, I think about it. Basically, the Lego movie is The Flash, essentially. So that seems like a good pairing to me. So, I mean, you think about it. Emmett is pretty close to Barry. So, you know, I think it's a good pairing. I think they're a much better pairing for a Flash that we would want to see the movie for than pretty much anyone else I can think of that could have been directing that movie. As far as where's it going to end up for the Han Solo movie, I don't know. You know, I'm assuming it'll get pushed back to Christmas again, so we'll continue to have the Christmas.
So that's
movies.
The thing is they have not changed the date. They have not changed the release date.
Not yet.
My question, and Dave, I want your thoughts on this too here in a second. But my question is, do they bring in a big name actor or do they give it to Glover?
What do you mean?
Well, he's already tied to the project as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
What if they graduated him to direct and reshoot the movie?
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know, because they were floating around a bunch of. I mean, they're floating around a whole ton of names, and there's probably going to be a lot of people jumping.
Like Zemeckis and a bunch of other people, but you know, do they put it in? I wonder if that you know, do they need old school methodology to tell an old school story, or do you think they can trust New Blood to try and tell it in a different way?
Here's my thing, actually. For that, I'm actually, for once, because this is not usually my take on it, I'm usually fine with New Blood coming in. I think if they're going to go back and tell an old story, throw somebody tried and true at it. That, you know, would actually know the characters, remember, you know, the characters when we knew it. I mean, I'm not really, to be honest, in favor of this whole young Han Solo movie anyway. I'm at the point where it's just like, you know, we don't need to go back and reshoot different actors as, you know, these characters and go see them when they're young and everything. No, we're done that. This is a big universe. You can have side stories, news stories, all kinds of stuff that doesn't involve, you know, people, you know, going back and, you know, changing history on us. So I say play it safe. You know, get somebody tried and true. Like, they even floated a name, Ron Howard. Yeah. You know, I'm fine with that. You know, let Ron Howard make a Han Solo movie. I don't care. This is not one. If this movie ends up being good, great. If not, you know, no skin off my back on this one.
Matt, you seem to be rolling in your chair at those comments a little bit.
Oh no, my back just hurts.
Speaking of old.
Speaking of old, yeah. I honestly don't know. I mean, it depends on how much of this they want to keep, right? I mean, if they want someone to just come in, finish it out, do some reshoots, and then get it into the editor's hand, because let's face it, editors make movies, right? Right. You know, directors do a bunch, but really editors are what end up making a movie. And lots of times directors will work with editors and it's a collaborative process, but not always. So, you know, how is it they want to handle this? You know, I think a Zemeckis or a Howard could come in. I think they could work with what's probably there. And we don't know what the script is. I mean, we don't even have a plot synopsis. So, you know, bringing those two in to try to inject some youthfulness into the story implies that it's going to inherently, even though the script was written by Kasdan, going to be a lighter toned movie than maybe we would have anticipated initially. Are they going to stick with that, or are they going to try and keep it light? If they're going to try and keep it light, you know, there's people out there, you know. Now would they turn down? You know, could there be a collaborative effort, or would they share the byline, right, or byline, not byline? Dang it. Anyway, you know what I mean. You know, would they have it be a collaborative, bring in an old a graybeard and a new guy? You know, so give it to Zemeckis and Glover, and have them work collaboratively on it. You know, is that an option? You know, that would seem like an opportunity there that would be kind of silly to pass up on if they're trying to keep a lighter tone. If they're just going to go ahead and turn it into a serious story, then you just go with the graybeard and run with it.
Yeah, and then that's pretty much all I watched. I'm interested to see where this unfolds, and we'll obviously see shortly in the upcoming months, since it's still slated for a September release date at this point. We'll see where.
July, I think.
Oh, really? I thought it was September. Oh, that's crazy close, if that's the case.
Should be done shooting like in a week or two.
Yeah, that's crazy. That doesn't seem like enough time for editing, even, if it's supposed to come out in July. But, nonetheless, so yes, Flash. Things I've played.
Hey, May 25th.
May 25th?
Yep, May 25th, 2018. This must be a hella short movie.
Okay.
It's going to end up being on TV.
Oh, then Glover would direct it at that point. Sorry.
Nice.
Let's see. I played Clash Royale. I don't think we've talked about PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on the show. I think that's all been offline.
You mentioned it on our post E3. You talked about it on our post E3.
I did talk about it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've been playing a lot of that, and it is ridiculously amusing. It's like the only complaint I have with the game. I understand it's still early access. It's amazingly complete for an early access game. The only complaint I have is that you never see who kills you or where.
Your only complaint isn't that you can't vault over small fences. And...
you know what? I can work around that. It will be a nice change when it happens. It is kind of annoying sometimes, but I can work around that. I just try and avoid the fenced areas to begin with. But yeah, I mean, that's not nearly as bad as not knowing who shot you from where and where they were hiding, because I look around a lot and somehow I manage to always be sniped from an unseen presence. It's a little frustrating. I want to get better at identifying where they're at, and if I could see who killed me from where. I get why they don't do it, because if you're on a team, I would imagine you could call out, oh, he's over there in the bushes off to the northeast. Okay, that's not fair. But still,
right.
It's a little frustrating.
Not to mention, I mean, that's kind of part of the game, right, too? I mean, if you were in this kind of battle royale situation, you got popped in the head, you wouldn't know where it came from. So, you know...
Yeah, but it's very unfulfilling when that happens.
Yeah, but there's only, 2 maps right now? So if every time you were killed, you knew where the hiding spot was...
There's not 2 maps.
Oh, there's only one?
There's one map.
Okay, maybe that new update that they were talking about.
There will be 2 additional maps in the update. Yeah. But it's a giant freaking map. So don't make it, it's not like it's a Call of Duty map. It's like 90 Call of Duty maps sewn together. It is giant sized. You can jump out anywhere pretty much on the plane. Everybody gets loaded into a plane, all 100 players, and it flies in a straight line across the map. But the direction that it flies is always different. So sometimes it's north to south, sometimes it's east to west, sometimes it's at a southeast to northwest jaunt. So it's not like the line is different every time, but you can jump out anywhere on the map. You just have to contend with being able to get to the circular designated play area in time from wherever you go. Because in the southern part of this current map, there is a ginormous military compound. And so a lot of people will jump out at the military compound. I can guarantee you that that military compound is so freaking far to the south that it's almost never in the play area. Yet a ton of people will jump out there because there's weapons and a bunch of other crap that you can get to suit up and gear up and actually survive longer. So a lot of people will jump out there. So it's a cornucopia. It's a cornucopia, but it's also one of the easiest ways to die first.
Right.
Is because there are 97 people. Well, not 97, but there's a lot of people parachuting the same place, and then it's a rush to not get punched until you're dead, and then make it into somewhere that has a weapon, equip it, and kill somebody before they do. So it's kind of got that frenetic, quick draw kind of thing going on too. Oh, that's right. I did talk about it because I talked about the guy that tried to kill me with the frying pan and couldn't.
Yeah.
I equipped a frying pan since last we spoke, and somebody shot me in the frying pan. And I took 0 damage. This is amazing.
Nice.
They tried to shoot me in the back and instead shot my frying pan.
Frying pan armor.
Woo-hoo. Yes. So yes, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I'm really looking forward to that. The other thing I don't think we mentioned from that big update, because they hadn't mentioned it at E3, is they are actually going to do player-controlled zombies. They're going to do a mode where if you die, you can then take over a player-controlled zombie and go after the living. So that's kind of interesting. I'm down with that idea. Been playing Marvel Heroes still a ton. I cannot believe that game is keeping my attention the way it is.
Every time I see you on the PSN, that's all I see is that game.
It's super satisfying. I will say, now that it is gone, we had... my group and I had found... It wasn't an exploit because it was in the game, but there was a treasure room that had... Well, so normally when you go into a treasure room, there's like 3 bosses, right?
It wasn't an exploit. It was just an feature that we exploited.
Yes, that is exactly correct. When you go into a treasure room, there's normally 3 bosses. You kill the 3 bosses, and the treasure room box appears. The loot box appears at the end. So this treasure room had a second level, and if you went upstairs, there were actually 2 bosses in 2 separate rooms, and they had their own box. So what you could do is, as a level 1 character, you could run, and if you survived long enough to get to this treasure room in the zone that it was in, which is much higher level than level 1, you could start making a run of run up, open the treasure box, don't worry about the boxes, open the second treasure box, get the experience and loot out of it, and then reset the room. You could then leave, teleport back to base, change characters back, and teleport back, and everything would be reset. The whole run would take literally a minute. And so you could just do that over and over again. It was the fastest way to gain XP. So apparently they hotfixed yesterday, and that the treasure boxes upstairs are no longer there. Wah, wah, wah. So that's all right. I got my 7 characters to max level, so I'm good. But yes, so that's been something that we've been working on and having fun with. And the interesting thing that is not Diablo-like, that I thought you might find interesting, Matt, before you fell off the internet like you just did. Damn. So, Dave, you've played Diablo 3, right?
Yes.
Okay, so in Diablo 3, you pick a character, and that's your character, and that's it. You don't get, like, if you then go and you play another character, it has no effect on that first character, right? I mean, you've got prestige levels, but that's above and beyond. There's not something character specific that helps. If you play Barbarian and you max Barbarian level, and then you go and you play Valkyrie or whatever, that's not going to help Barbarian at all, right? Right. So in this game, they actually have a synergy feature that every character, when it hits level 25 and level 50, it unlocks a synergy that you can use with any other character. So in other words, if I'm Scarlet Witch and I'm a magic-based character, and then I go and I play Doctor Strange, at 25 and 50, he gives an additional 2.5% magic damage to any character that you're playing. So as long as I've gotten Doctor Strange on my account up to level 50, he gives 5% extra magic damage to Scarlet Witch.
Well, that's cool.
Scarlet Witch. Yeah, and so there's a lot of different ways that you can choose to kind of map out optimizing your character to do the most damage based on the characters you have in the game. So that's kind of cool. I wonder if Matt's coming back or if he kicked his router again.
I don't know. Usually he comes back.
Yeah. Well, as you say that, there he goes. So yeah, I have played one other thing that is absolutely hands down one of the most fun things I've played in a while. And I really wanted Matt here for this, but because there's an analogy and a story that I am working on, basically, that says that Star Trek Bridge Crew is the most fun rock band I've played in years.
Nice.
Booted that up for the Vive and was pleasantly surprised to find out that it is cross-play, not only with PSVR, but with Oculus owners as well. So because of that, there's almost never dead space in finding a pickup group. The game consists of 4 players, one person playing the captain, one person playing nav, one person playing tactical, and one person playing chief engineer. And so the chief engineer routes power, repairs systems, that kind of thing. The navigator sets courses, steers in local space to avoid like asteroids and stuff like that, and engages warp and impulse drives. The TAC officer does a lot more than he actually does in the show. The TAC officer does fire at stuff, that is true, but also does like scans of anomalies, scans of other ships, and then you're able to target subsystems and stuff like that as well. So if you just want to cripple a bird of prey and take out its weapons, you can do that as opposed to destroying it. In fact, for some missions, you have to do that kind of stuff.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I like ship combat like that, and they don't do it enough in games.
And the interesting thing is the other part of that I wasn't aware of, and that's kind of interesting, is you actually do hacking in the game. So once you've scanned a enemy ship, you can then start a computer subroutine to disrupt some of their systems and take them offline. So you could say, go ahead.
Here's my thing. Like, while that's going on with one person, like,
yes,
are the other people all engaged at the same time? Like, how does that work? Is there times where you're having to wait for like somebody to do something, and you're like, all right?
So the one that seems to have the most of that is Chief Engineer. Chief Engineer is the flurry job, right? It's like you everything's cool. There's nothing to do.
Until it's not.
But when stuff starts hitting the fan, it all hits the fan, and you're like you're ending up you end up repairing substance. So yeah, let me give you a typical example. Hi Matt, welcome back.
Hi.
We're talking about Star Trek Bridge Crew. I was trying to wait for you, but I didn't.
No, that's okay. My laptop decided to have an aneurysm.
Yeah. So here's a specific singular mission. So the first part about this is you can play this game solo mode, and if you do that, you're the captain and you have AI bots that are the other positions, and you can actually run everything from the captain station in that instance. So you can say, engineering set engines to 5,000 or whatever you need to do, and they can do that.
Now, do you say that verbally, or is that through a command interface?
No, it's through a command interface.
Okay.
When you're with other people, this is not one of those games where somebody can be silent. Like, it's almost like if you've ever watched a Gordon Ramsay show, how he's like so adamant about when somebody calls out an order into the kitchen, you acknowledge it in some way. Right. The funny part is, like, everyone slips into character in every game I've ever played. everybody's just like, aye, Captain. And then suddenly, I even started doing it. I'm like, Captain, there's a bird of prey showing up at Mark 281 on sensors at 45 clicks out. And it's like, I'm just trying to tell everybody else, because Nav can't see anything other than what's on the view screen, and neither can engineering. The Captain can. And so the Captain's actually got probably one of the busiest jobs, because they'll get the hails from Starfleet on what the quest is. They'll get the hails from, or see what we have to do for the mission. So there's the single player, but then there's multiplayer, and there are story missions, and then there are procedurally generated missions, and they call those the continuing missions. For example, one that we did, Captain got a thing on his data pad, said we needed to warp to Taraxia Alpha 3. And so the nav person has to then plot in the course on the galaxy map, which actually dumbs it down. It does not show you everything. It shows you, here's where you are, here's where you need to go. Because that would be super overwhelming if you had the entire galaxy at your disposal. He plots that in. Then he has to wait for engineering to engage the warp drive. So the chief engineer has to reroute power to the warp drive, in which you pretty much can't do anything else, FYI. And you only have 10 seconds to engage once power has been routed to the warp drives. So then Nav engages. So in this case, TAC's just kind of chilling out, right? Not doing anything at that point. Once you get to where you're going, which warp happens almost instantaneously. Once you get to that point, though, there's always stuff in the system, and then it's TAC's job to start scanning it. Is that an anomaly? Is it going to damage the ship's subsystems? And so for that, as soon as I start scanning it, based on the distance, it actually affects the speed of the scanning. So Nav, I will call, for example, if I'm running TAC, which is my favorite spot so far, I will say there is an anomaly at bearing, 281, Mark 281, 35 kilometers out. Nav, can you get us closer so that we can get the readings faster on it? And so, assuming the captain says yes, do that, then off we go and do that. And then chief engineer's kind of chilling out for a second, rerouting power the way he thinks the captain wants it, or the captain can call out, raise excellent. The other interesting thing about tactical is that if you have your torpedoes on and your shields up, your detection radius is larger. So if you want to fly under the radar, then you're basically flying with no, you turn phasers off, you turn torpedoes off, you have no defenses, but then your imprint is smaller. And some anomalies will make it like Star Trek 2, where no one can see you and you can't see anyone. And you can use that to your advantage if you're going into a tactical situation. I've played with captains that are the let's fly in head first Call of Duty style, and everybody dies. But then I've played with some other captains that are really methodical about it, and they're like using anomalies to wedge themselves in between squadron patrols of bird of preys to remain unseen but still scan our target and hack in and do whatever we're supposed to. So it's really interesting because people have different play styles, and then it's about working together as a team to accomplish the mission. And it actually has a rank progression bar. Like, you start at ensign, and now I'm all the way up through the second rank, which is junior grade lieutenant. At this point, my next mission will push me up to whatever the next one is. And so it's pretty interesting in that everybody comes into the ready room, and you get a chance to talk with people and see what they're like before you start playing. So it has been the case where some people come in and are douchebags, and then one of the three other people kicks them out of the room and waits for a new person, and then they go. And the other interesting thing is, if somebody drops or you only have 3 players, that does not mean that you can't play. AI will fill in the 4th one, which is normally not good enough, but if you're the captain, you can actually switch between chairs. So you can be the captain, and then when stuff hits the fan, you can jump into the engineering seat to repair the shields or any of that stuff. It's one of those games that it's like super, like, doing one thing is easy, right? Here's all the stuff that you have to do. It's not a lot, but when suddenly you're put into high stress situations, the game kind of morphs a little bit, and it's about multitasking and keeping your cool, kind of just like they do on the TV show, which is kind of weird but awesome. And it creates. It's the only other game that I have ever played that creates what I call the Rock Band effect. And Matt, I think you know what I'm talking about when I say the Rock Band effect. Yes.
Yeah.
It's that, like, that moment that suddenly it stops being a game and it starts being something that people are doing together as an experience. And it's
the collaboration thing, you know. I mean, you can kind of get it when you're doing first-person shooters and you're on a squad that's doing well and you're controlling zones and stuff. You kind of get it, but yeah, I can see how this one would definitely do that. And I've seen lots of things from people writing up on it where if you know anything about Trek, you almost can't help but fall into character. I think it was Tycho, i.e. Jerry from Penny Arcade, they did a comic where it was, you know, in the final panel was the navigator saying the escape pods have been captured, sir, and then the captain says, thank heavens those were letters I didn't want to have to write, or something. And that was an actual literal transcribing from a session that he was in, of, you know, people just so into character because they've watched the show and they've watched the movies, and you put them in that bridge and they just, this is their time, you know. They've trained all their life for this moment, you know, and they just can't help but kind of fall into character. So it's an experience I'm really interested to try out sometime, but, you know.
And
all this is really doing for me is just saying, why don't we have this with an X-Wing yet?
Well, so I'll tell you why. So one of the main for people who are criticizing the game, the criticism is that you're basically looking at this. You're basically playing a virtual reality game where you're just staring at a phone. And that's kind of true. Now, I will tell you that when they put you in the training, it's in a holodeck, right? And so you see the other positions, but it doesn't feel like a ship or anything when you're doing the training. Once you get onto the ship, you are on the bridge of a Enterprise-like ship, and it's pretty cool because you can look around and see everything, and there are a lot of other NPC characters who actually do interact with you. So, for example, on the nav station, when I scan something, I don't get the results. My science officer gets the results and tells the whole crew what the results of that anomaly are going to be. So it's kind of cool the way they've still made everybody else useful, even though they're not real characters or whatever. It makes it there are people talking in the background about stuff that's going on in the mission. It's that chatter that you would expect to hear, but it's not overwhelming. But when I'm working at TAC, I can see the viewfinder, and that's cool, but my job is on that screen, if that makes sense. And so half the time it's just like the actual show. They're staring at their pad display, doing stuff on the pad display. And that's what I am doing pretty much 90% of the time. There is a cool thing that you can, at any point, hold down a button and see what's going on outside the ship from the bridge, just above the bridge perspective. So if you wanted to do that, you could, but you get far better tactical information from the TAC readout. So it's kind of a not used thing, I guess is the best way to say that. But that's one of the criticisms I've seen is it's people staring at screens inside VR. And that's true, but that doesn't make it any less fun, in my opinion.
Sounds like a video game, people staring at screens.
Yeah, that's really it. It's pretty hilarious.
I mean, my thing is like, I mean, let's face it, Star Trek is a little bit slower when it comes to the ship stuff. Like, it's not, you know, that it wasn't done by some guy that was a speed freak just trying to, rev engines and fire lasers and stuff. It's the more cerebral that shows. So anybody that's really expecting that, I'm a little confused because that's not like, how would that be a complaint? I mean, that's not something that's typically done in that series.
See, I've always kept
unless you're Riker.
No, because even Riker, I've always kept it like this. Star Trek Generations, whether you loved it or hated it, drew the ultimate analogy, and that is Star Trek is naval battles. Mm-hmm. It is naval ships, giant bodies that do not turn. They are not X-Wings. They will never be X-Wings. Whereas Star Wars are aerial battles. Right. They are planes fighting in space as opposed to boats fighting in space. And
right,
so,
with the one caveat being Riker, who just slapped the Gatling gun on it and discovered the Y-axis.
Well, technically he also
did.
He technically also installed a spinal lance, phaser lance, and discovered the Z-axis of time.
And a third nacelle.
Yeah, and a third nacelle, because you need that. You need that for the extra.
Of course, you need that.
I know. Trust me, my ship has it.
Just like to break down the fabric of the universe quicker.
I really wish they showed that meeting where he was just like, "Okay, I'm captain now. Get me a Gatling gun." Just
giant freaking laser.
Just pop that baby right on the belly.
So, I'm actually banned from doing VR until post tomorrow evening.
That's hilarious.
I'm having some vision issues, and I don't want to exacerbate them with wrong settings in VR, which I'm pretty sure.
What does that mean? No, sorry.
It means the space between my eyes on the Vive is set to the wrong thing, and I don't want to pull a muscle.
Now, what does exacerbate mean? That's from Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
yeah,
I do movie quotes.
Okay, I got the Red 6 one. I didn't get the other one.
Nice.
So I've really enjoyed this game. I really am excited to play because there are now that crossplay has been confirmed. I have a group of PSVR players that we're going to stream the hell out of this game. So I'm super excited about it. I still am hoping that Dave finally breaks down and buys it, and then this will be the first game that he plays online with people ever. Yeah,
I think that reaction says it all.
Yeah, I'm sure it does, but that's okay. But yeah, so that's something else I've been playing, and then of course Clash Royale on the phone. That stupid game is so good.
I'm still impressed that one's held you this long too. I mean,
what was the new Clash game that I just was reading about? It's not a Clash game, but it's a game that's basically Clash Royale in another setting, and I'm super excited about it. And now I can't think what it is. Oh well, it'll come back to me. So,
not Star Wars, I'm guessing.
No, not Star Wars. Let's pull up the old news feed, and we will go through the Newsplosion of the week. Lots of stuff actually post E3. I'm still really weirded by the fact that Sony and other companies chose not to highlight a lot of their upcoming games in the actual stage presentations. It's still really weird to me.
The more I think of saving it for their own shows. That's what it's come down to. E3 is going to be kind of here are the mass market pleasers, and then we're going to save all our really cool stuff for our own shows that we're going to do at other times. I really think that's where it's just gone to now.
And thanks, L Cloth, for the good analogy comment. I've always tried to find a way to break that down, set people's expectations for Star Trek versus Star Wars. I don't think one's better than the other. Well, I mean, I have my own personal bias, but I think they're both extremely valuable portions of the sci-fi spectrum.
Yeah, and they both have the other, right? I mean, Star Trek has like the runabouts and the little ships. They just don't focus on it. And Star Wars has the massive naval vessels. They just don't focus on.
Right, exactly. Okay,
although I'm expecting that's going to be a Bridge Commander expansion at some point where you can hop in a shuttle or a runabout or something and
Defiant.
Well, so the interesting thing is they have.
You see what camp I'm in? That's why I'm not playing it.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
the ship that barely worked half the time. Yes, that's the camp here.
Yeah, but it did have a cloaking device.
But when it did,
it did so greatly. Yeah, I'm interested to see if they do expand it. They currently have. You can play the Aegis, which is a new ship. It's set in the JJ verse, so it's not one that anybody's ever seen before.
So
it is
you can't see anything because of all the lens flare.
No, but yeah, I'm telling you, I had the funniest freaking experience. The last game I played, the guy that was playing Nav, every time we would warp in, he was doing the thing behind the like it was a bumpy ride or something. I'm like, what are you doing, dude?
So when you're playing tactical, are you playing from the front of the bridge, or are you playing from like a wharf position?
No, front of the bridge. You're playing from the Chekhov. Yeah, you're playing Chekhov. Nav is Sulu, and
engineering was off to the right.
Yeah, but if you look at Next Gen, engineering is part of the back panel, like the thing that runs around the bridge. It's not that. He's got his own station. He or she has their own station off to the right. I will say I've not seen a single female in the game yet.
Well, and that's where Scotty's position was. Well, to Kirk's left, but his position on the bridge was off on that far side.
Yeah, and so that's where. On the left side is where they have the science officer and a couple other assorted people, as well as a glass sector map. That's kind of cool looking, but yeah, there's really nobody off to the left of the captain, back that way. All right, here we go. So, news. We have so much of it. Let's try and get through all of it. The first, man, I cannot read that at all. Let's blow that up. Oh man, can I? Oh, I can't. Good.
You are having it.
I was worried for a hot second that I couldn't make it bigger, but I can. So the first story we have is at the end of E3, IO Interactive announced that they are actually going independent and keeping the Hitman franchise. They have bought themselves out from Square Enix, which is interesting because when this news originally broke, it was said that IO was not in a financial place to do that. So something happened here. I'm guessing they secured outside investments from somebody that allowed them to actually buy their own yoke back from Square Enix. That is interesting because one of the things I do not have in the news feed, but if you want to play Hitman, you can go onto the PlayStation Store right now and download the first episode for free. And the people that notified me of that in my email box was Square Enix, not IO Interactive, because I'm not subscribed to IO Interactive.
Which is interesting because I got the email today, which is from IO Interactive, but it's still a Square Enix server. It's still Square Enix in the address, but it's from IO Interactive, so they haven't completely split yet.
Correct. Some sad news. The godfather of the Intellivision died this week, so our thoughts and condolences go out to his family. That was my first video game station. It was also the first console I ever got before launch as a pre-release, so that was cool. I got it 4 months ahead of time, and so that was interesting. But I love that system even to this day. It's one of my favorite systems of all time. I think it's better than the ColecoVision. I think it's better than just about anything else. And to this day, it is still weird for me to play games that don't have discs as controllers. And phone keypads, for that matter, but hey. Did you ever play the Intellivision, Dave?
Oh God, yeah.
Where would you rank it amongst that whole offering? I think it's better than the Atari, personally.
Well, I mean, technically, yeah. I remember, it did have some really good stuff on it. I mean, the games obviously were technically better. I mean, it had a lot more power than, the Atari system. I did have more fun overall with the Atari. Mm-hmm. A lot of the games that I thought were the most fun on the Intellivision were actually on Atari in some way. Like Astro Smash, I think, was one.
No.
Do you remember that one?
Astro Smash was in Intellivision only. Almost like 99.99 billion% sure on that one. I'll look it up.
Actually, something I might be thinking of when I played it on the when they released Intellivision Lives.
That is very... Nope. Yeah, I am wrong. It is a cut-down version, but it was released on the 2600 under Mattel's M Network. Oh, but it was a different name. It was called Astro Blast.
Astro Blast, that's it.
That's why I had no knowledge of that. Okay, awesome. Yeah, cool.
Wow. I don't even remember this stuff.
Old.
Yeah.
We are super old. Old.
Like a whole 2 years older than me.
What was that one where it was kind of like a maze game where there was like a guy and there was like you were in like almost like a graveyard or something. There was like monsters around. I cannot remember the name of that one.
You're not talking about the D&D game, are you?
No. I think it was called Night Hunter or something. Night Stalker.
Night Stalker?
Yeah. That was another good one.
See, for me, it was Discs of Tron.
Discs of Tron was very good.
It was Astro Smash. It was skiing. It was the D&D game, which I actually own, but is currently in storage, much to my chagrin. I actually have the box, the inserts, and the game. Proceed. Not that it's worth anything, just freaking amazing.
Probably the one game, the multiplayer game that actually was like the most fun, that I actually got the most competition out of when I was like playing at other people's houses, was Frog Bog. You remember that one?
Yep.
For whatever reason, I was really good at that game. But that was hilarious playing that. That was like, God, that was probably one of the first like really competitive multiplayer games where you're both trying to run up the score. Aside from like combat, but combat was kind of like you're going against each other. But yeah, Intellivision was a really good system. I think it probably got a raw deal because of price.
Well, most definitely, and it was right around the crash kind of that. Burger Time, that was my first exposure to Burger Time.
Oh, Burger Time was a really good version on that one.
I'm looking to see if there's anything else that was like super. It did have Dig Dug, but I never played it. Donkey Kong, that was my first home Donkey Kong. I thought that was the coolest freaking thing ever. Frog Bog. I can't believe you played Frog Bog. That's awesome.
Dude, that's hilarious. Oh, B-17 Bomber with the voice.
Yep. There's one I'm thinking of, and I'm looking through the list because I can't think of the name. Las Vegas Poker and Blackjack. That is where I learned to play blackjack.
Nice.
To this day, I have never when I go to a casino, I will take $20. If I win, I take that $20 and I keep it so that no matter what else happens, I end up or even at the end of the day, and I'll usually continue to take 20 and put it back. I have never, if I lose in that initial hand, which has never happened to me, then I'm done. So I'll never go less than spending $20 at a casino. That system has never failed me, and I learned doing it on that stupid Intellivision game. So that's pretty hilarious.
It's good stuff. But I did not actually like the controllers. to be honest.
See, I don't know, because it was my first system. I got used to it, I guess, is the best way to say it. And I agree, the overlays with the keypads were not great, but the disc was pretty responsive, so I didn't have too much problem with it.
Wasn't there a thing like you had to squeeze both buttons to register?
So,
or is that ColecoVision?
I know what you're talking about. I don't.
That might have been ColecoVision, actually.
Because it did have side buttons on the side of the controller, but you never really used them for a whole lot.
It was ColecoVision. That's what I'm thinking of.
I'm still looking for this stupid game. It was a ship game. I know that's what it was, and I'm trying. I don't think it was. It wasn't River Raid. Sea Battle. That was it.
Sea Battle. That was the other voice game, wasn't it?
Yep. That was the one that I spent a hell of a lot of time with.
Oh wait, no, it doesn't have voice on it.
Tennis. Tower of Doom. Tron Deadly Discs. I had Tron Mesotron, but I didn't like that one as much.
I don't even remember that one.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much it. No, Zaxxon was the other voice game.
Zaxxon had voice?
I'm pretty sure it did.
Huh.
I thought the opening did, anyways.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Yeah. So, anyways, sad to see that end of an era, kind of unknown whether his family will continue licensing the products. They did pretty well from Intellivision Libs, so I'd like to see more of that stuff, but we'll see. So there is local co-op in Super Mario Odyssey, the game that proves that Mario is not human. And so that's been interesting. Thoughts on local co-op in Mario? Is that a deal breaker for those of you that don't like?
No, I mean, it'll be optional for like myself. Now, what'll be weird is my boys would normally dive into that and do co-op together, but one of them's leaving. I don't know how that will affect how they will play the game.
Well, I mean, it's only local co-op, so it's not
right.
Like
no, I mean, will they just ignore the co-op thing? Will I be talked into playing co-op? Will they just wait till they're both home at the same time to play it together, or how will they?
I'm sure they will.
That?
So this is the other co-op story that I thought was interesting. Online multiplayer has been confirmed from Ni no Kuni 2.
I have not read this. What?
Yes. So it is a Studio Ghibli game, but it's not. But online multiplayer has been confirmed. Is that interesting to you, Matt, or is that an aberration upon this, the Earth that should be destroyed?
I think somewhere in the middle. I mean, as long as it's optional, as long as it's not required, then it's fine.
Sure it's not required.
Yeah. I mean, again, my schedule and my timeline and stuff does not lend itself to readily having a group or a matchup for multiplayer. So, just it is what it is, and I don't want that to limit my ability to play the game. But yeah, like I said, as long as it's optional and the game AI that makes up for that doesn't just completely suck, then it's fine.
So E3 2017 ended up pulling in 70,000 people on the show floor. A good chunk of that was from public boosting the numbers. They're looking for a new venue because it was too packed, which no one saw coming. Because it.
Do you think they're going to look at Gamescom as a model where you have separate venues for press and public?
I don't think separate venues would make sense. I mean, I think it's going to remain with the system of, press makes appointments ahead of time. They have credentials. They get in where they don't have to wait in line, whereas the public does have to wait in line. So I don't see them separating venues.
Well, I guess I'm thinking more. The one complaint I've heard on the podcasts from the folks that were there is that it was stupid hard to get to appointments. Right. For the press people, because the rooms were the halls were just packed. Everything was packed. They didn't really have a use this door if press or use this door if vent kind of setup going. It kind of wasn't really very well marked. The rules of engagement weren't well explained. So, they could handle that by something like that. But what if all of the press meetings were in an adjacent building or a hotel across the way or something from the show floor,
Well, technically they've done that before when E3 was
when they did the weird
hotel. Yeah, the weird year where it was only the hotel rooms. They could do that. I guess I would think that there is. So how do I put this into context? I think there's something lost by doing that, because it's obviously, if you're going to a sorry, the world is squeaking. If you're going to view a game, to look at it, to write about it, etc., and the company that's doing it has spent $192,000 on building a booth and a showing room and etc., that is a much different ambiance than going to a hotel room to view a game, to write about it. Now, I would contend that good journalists could do it without the glitz and glamour, and the same problems, if it's a hands-off demo where they don't get to play it, you're going to have the same problems there, etc. I could see them doing it. But then, if it becomes just a public exhibition, I have to wonder what the I have to wonder the ROI. Like, Nintendo obviously said, the ROI is not there for us doing this huge stage presence and doing that. They still have booth and the treehouse stuff on the show floor. They still have that, but they do not do the big press run, the presser show. They don't do that anymore. They decided to save their money. I think that's probably going to become the norm. I think E3
I could say this year may be the year we saw the death of the presser.
Yeah, I really think so, because I think Sony will still do it. I think Sony will do it until, even if Microsoft stops doing it, Sony will continue to do it, because that's Sony and that's what they do. But I have to think we will see the number of pressers drop next year. I don't think we'll see. I think we'll see recorded stuff.
Or there'll be more pre-recorded stuff like Bethesda and Nintendo. And
I just can't imagine they're going to look at this stuff and go, we don't want to save the money. They are looking to squeeze every amount of profitability in everything they do. Don't tell me E3 is cheap for them.
And there's so many shows now. There's so many opportunities to show stuff. Everybody's got their own shows. All the other show, Paris Game Week, Tokyo Game Show, Gamescom, E3. I mean, there's just so much that they can do. And if it's cheaper to do it at one of those other shows, I mean, I would have to imagine Sony's going to get to a point where there's going to be a very clear line between what they do at Experience and what they do anywhere else. Mm-hmm. And Experience is going to become the anticipated show versus, say, E3.
Yeah, I'll be very interested to see what they do at this year's Experience, because so far that has not been the case for me. Like, E3 has been the superior thing, but after this year's E3, I fully expect PlayStation Experience to be the superior show, because this. Now,
having said that, anyone who's been in the theater was super impressed with the presentation that was done. In the theater.
Agreed. I'm not trying to take away from that. I'm just saying that what we expected was definitely not what we got.
Right.
And so I think that we will see more of what in line of what our expectations for E3 were in the presser for Experience. So I will be very interested to watch that this December. I think E3 is... I still have not seen a single review about what E3 was like from the perspective of somebody who paid for the $250 ticket. I am dying to know, good, bad, or otherwise, because if E3 is going to survive as a public show, you've got to have a core group of fans saying, I saw this and it was amazing and I could never see that anywhere else. And with PAX East, PAX West, PAX South, and all the other shows, I don't know that for $250 they hit that goal this year. I heard of long lines for everyone, and exactly what you said. The convention center was too small. It was packed. I am still waiting to see what the fallout is going to be from the public side of it. What good, bad, or otherwise. I've not seen a single review from anyone who went in a paying capacity.
And we all know people are real quick to pitch a fit. So I don't, the fact that there's been no feedback is kind of a weird situation. No news is good news,
I guess. This was an interesting story that kind of gave us updated numbers for the VR industry as a whole. So around 400,000 units for the Vive out, 240,000 for Oculus, and PSVR at 1 million. So PSVR is, I'm saying actual VR units. The full number is like, I think 8.3 million headsets, but the majority of those are the
Samsung and
Samsung,
Google.
The Samsung phone ones. I can't remember even the name of it.
I'm sure it's got Galaxy in the name somewhere.
Yeah, it's not True VR. So,
VR.
It's not.
And then don't forget the Game Boy VR and all those little handheld things that had the kind of 3-dimensional VR thing.
So there was an ad, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but there was an ad that said that Blizzard is looking to hire somebody to remaster Warcraft 3 and Diablo 2. And there's no consensus if this is a real thing like that Blizzard is doing, or if this is just an old job post. Like it's a new job post, but old verbiage, like the HR person didn't update their stuff. So
right.
Yeah, that's interesting. Pokemon Go got a huge update. They're revamping gyms, so now it's a co-op raid. There are 4 items that you can only get from taking over a gym now, and all gyms now have the spinner thing, so that people like Matt, who live in Cashton, Wisconsin, who can't ever find enough Pokestops, actually has stuff to spin now at their gyms.
And now I actually fired up Pokemon Go the last 2 days, and the gyms are still under construction. They haven't unlocked yet. We now have 2 gyms in town.
Oh, I should probably check that because they're probably unlocked here. They always are. I mean, we get all the beta stuff first. So,
but
start spinning, Matt.
He can't. They're locked for him. You were told to start spinning, Matt.
Oh well, but they did. One of the old Pokestops turned into a gym, so they moved the Pokestop across the street, so we didn't lose the Pokestop, thankfully. It actually seems to be tracking steps now, even if it's in the background. So, like to save battery, what I would do is I'd go to the Pokestop, because like today, all I was doing was collecting items because I'm way low on Pokeballs because I haven't played in forever. So I was just stopping at the Pokestops and spinning. And in between Pokestops, when I fired it back up, it would seem like I got candy from my Pikachu with the Santa hat. Even though the phone had been in my pocket and the app had been in the background. So it seems like they've done a lot of little stuff. It loads a lot better. It seems to recover from background a lot better. And there was something else I noticed that I was going to mention. Can't think of what it was now. But it seems like there were a lot of little improvements on top of the big stuff that they're doing with it. So, and the loading image kind of raid style gym battle where they've got a Tyranitar in the center of the gym and several people attacking it. And then my son, my oldest, obviously went, no one would ever use a Pikachu against a like, okay, fine. No, Pokemon nerd.
Yeah, you're supposed to point and laugh and say, haha, nerd. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, so that was a pretty funny moment. But
so, Dave.
Yes, no.
Fun. And we're still in the Solstice event. Fire and water, I think it is. Pokemon are spawning more readily, and they're easier to capture. So I've got several Houndours recently. They seem to be the one that are spawning around here.
Nice. I haven't turned it on. I will do so this weekend for sure. So, Dave, we were having our little trip down memory lane. What if I told you Atari is releasing a new console?
I would laugh at you. Then
have we confirmed that this is a legit new thing, or is this just like their ultimate version of all their old stuff mushed into a box?
It is the second thing you said. A wood paneled box, I might add. It does have wood paneling.
Awesome.
But it is a new console, and they're very cagey on whether or not there will be new games on it. But they did say that it will probably use some kind of PC architecture to allow them to maximize everything.
So it's going to be a stripped down PC that's going to run a 2600 emulator.
Pretty much. Yeah. With real wood paneling, though. With real wood paneling. Emulated. That is not emulated.
I'm curious.
But will it have a 5200 emulator in it?
It's an Amiga emulator. They just completely jumped the tracks. That's
an Amiga was a Commodore.
Can I get a disco ball too?
Yeah.
Yes.
Amiga was Commodore.
Yeah. I know. That's why I said
have a Lynx emulator in it.
That's what I was saying.
Ah, the Lynx.
With 16 double D batteries required.
Not true. Only 8.
I will only accept this answer if it has a zip disk included.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Or a cassette tape drive. I'll take the cassette tape drive also. Yeah.
You load all your games off dataset. That'd be great.
Star Trek Discovery air date has been set for September. And does anyone on this panel care?
No.
This show looks so bad, and the whole model.
They're not taking it seriously.
I would contend they're taking it very seriously, but it's the wrong time frame. The ship looks like it from like post Voyager, not the old 10 years before TOS. Those computers should not have any displays on them whatsoever. They should be what's the colored candies that you get at the movie theater that
chiclets?
No, they're made of like gelatin. The
dots?
Not dots.
What movie theater are you going to?
It's the old timey candy.
Mike and Ike?
No, not Mike and Ike. They look like
gumdrops.
Kind of gum. There are kind of gumdrops, but
dots.
No, not dots. There's a brand name for them, and they look like mini fruitcakes, kind of. But they're clear and they have colors, and they look like the freaking buttons from TOS. That's what I'm saying.
What movie theater are you going to that sells candy like that? Are you talking about like going to Grandma's house and like watching movies?
No. Anyways, I'll find it.
Is the candy you're getting blue, like a sky blue color?
No.
You're talking about gummies. Not. Are you talking about the gummies?
Starburst.
What?
Starburst?
No. No, not Starburst. No, not Starburst.
We've named everything that's in
no.
movie.
Yeah. But no, I'll find it later and come back. But anyways, does anyone think that this is going to succeed since it is only on CBS All Access?
No.
Okay.
No.
See it at all.
I'm just
Yeah, and I mean, they can't even claim it's JJ verse changes don't take effect until after TOS. So
yeah, so it's like, come on now. I'm searching for this damn candy now. I'll find it.
I hate how they sit there and say that it's the much anticipated TV return. No, it's not.
Well, the first that's true marketing speak because the first episode is on TV.
That's something. I will watch the first episode on TV.
Yes. So
and yeah, I mean, there have been people anticipating and wanting a Trek for a long time, but I'm watching Enterprise, and I think I'm getting a better quality product than this is going to end up being.
No, I'm still okay. Wait a minute.
I'm still in season 1 of Enterprise. All right.
Well, okay, yes, then I completely agree. Completely agree. Once Earth gets attacked, that show becomes really good. But until then,
right,
no good.
Yeah.
Bad.
Still better than this is going to be, though.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. So, hey Matt, there's that Venom movie, right?
Yeah.
So
I'll get it sorted.
No one, not even the shepherd of the MCU, knows whether or not Venom is going to be in the MCU or not.
You know what? They'll get a script down. They'll get in a room. They'll figure out if it lines up with where they want to go. Sony will either make the changes Marvel wants so that it'll be a part of the MCU, or they won't be willing to make those changes and they'll do it as a side project. I think they would be stupid to not make the changes and do whatever Marvel wants them to do to keep it in the MCU, because how would you have to recast Spider-Man? Would Spider-Man not even exist? How would you do that? It'll end up being MCU that's never referenced in any other MCU movie ever. Kind of like the events of the Incredible Hulk.
But I guess here's my question. I think they can totally do it and not have it be part of the MCU because Marvel may not want to pay the licensing for it.
Yeah, I guess it all depends on what did their original agreement between Sony and Marvel cover. If Venom wasn't included in that original agreement, then yeah, maybe it will be this weird kind of off to the side thing.
And you'll still have Tom
Danny
Holland.
Glover shows up as Peter Parker.
No, I think it'll still be Tom Holland as Peter Parker. He's under contract with Sony, not Marvel. It's just that Marvel has creative control over his character.
Right. So I mean they're going to be involved one way or the other. It's just Does it get the Marvel which Marvel tickler stream flashy thing does it get at the beginning of the movie?
Pretty much. Let's see.
How much Tony Stark will be in the Venom movie?
All of the Tony Stark. All of the time. We have seen that. So this is one that I actually want to take a quick gander at. I thought this was very telling. So this was E3's top 14 most watched videos.
This is a weird list. This is a really, really weird list.
I don't think it's that weird. There are definitely some surprising things on it. Number 14 was South Park, the official gameplay, which is great. Because, I mean, I think people are anticipating that because the first one was so good and it's been delayed basically another year. Yeah.
This at number 13 is hard for me to believe.
So here's... Hold on. I think I understand why your confusion is because this is specifically GameSpot's top 14 in their order. This is not the most viewed for the entire conference. Keep in mind that so this is theirs. So Spider-Man was
then their
13
tastes just suck.
Maybe. But what is interesting is
Come on, even you had to like that gameplay trailer, and you don't like Spider-Man.
Dude, I will play that game 7 days a Sunday. That was amazing. I am super psyched for it. But what I'm saying is that since GameSpot does their own video that's not hosted anywhere else, I think this is a good alternative measurement to YouTube. And what is missing from this list is corroborated by YouTube, which is extremely interesting. So I don't want to go through the whole list. I mean, we'll just hit the highlights. Assassin's Creed, blah, blah, blah. Dragon Ball Fighter.
To me, I think Dragon Ball above Assassin's Creed. That's just kind of crazy.
Well, Dragon Ball is a much more widely known property.
Sure.
So, I mean, I get that part. God of War, and then Shadow of War, and then Days Gone. Destiny 2 is here, but it's not on YouTube. And then the chick being proposed to by EA, Metroid Prime 4, and then the Anthem, it's way high up their list, and then the Xbox One spec breakdown was theirs. So that was interesting in terms of that site's traffic, because they do get a lot of traffic, which is why I wanted to highlight it. But then YouTube, Destiny 2 is nowhere on the list. And I have to think that sends a pretty clear message to Bungie. I have kind of been committed to buy Destiny 2, and I am even having I'm thinking I'm gonna back out on poor John, because I do not want to
dude.
It's one of those things that I get almost physically angry when I think about giving them more money. So I'll probably put
all the updates.
Do what?
Did you stick with through all the updates, or did you bounce after Taken King?
I bounced after Taken King, but then I have it now, and I've got it all updated. I bought the Ultimate Collection thing, and have been playing through. And it's nice. It's new content. It's stuff I've never seen before, and it's not repetitive like the old stuff, which is great. But I still have this bile in my stomach. That it's like I'll put the $5 down at the house that shall not be named, so that I get pre-order access, or for the closed beta. And I'll play through the beta and see. But I mean, what was my number one response when they said pre-order now and get early access? I'm like, yeah, it cost me $150 and it was called the first game. And I'm still very vehemently bitter about that. And I don't know that I'm going to be, I want to be a good friend and do this because I said I would. But at the other hand, there's so much other stuff that I could be doing that will not make me upset. So I'm like, I don't know. We'll see. Horizon Zero Dawn released some stats that are pretty impressive. 3.4 million copies of the game sold, and then Aloy has died something like 185 million times, which is funny.
You will die during the course of playing that game. You will. Did you ever finish it, Mark?
I have it. It's sitting there waiting for me. I will finish it. I really like it.
Why?
Marvel Heroes.
Seriously, okay, you cannot tell me Marvel Heroes is anywhere near the caliber of a game that Horizon is.
So let me answer your question, because I definitely understand how you could assume that. It is not the caliber of game
I've
of
played
Horizons.
both games. One's not the same caliber.
But Marvel Superheroes allows them to have a spreadsheet.
That is true. An entire Reddit subforum, sir. Thank you. Yes. But the other
don't we
side,
understand each other yet?
We kind of do, yes. But the other side of that is that the core gameplay loop of Marvel Heroes is giving me that loot drop search rush that the other game isn't. And I'm not saying you don't ever get good loot and good games in Horizon Zero Dawn. You super do. In fact, I love that game. I can't tell you how much I love that game. That is a... I actually had someone come to me for advice the other day. They said, should I put $60 more into Marvel Heroes or should I buy Horizon Zero Dawn? I said, buy Horizon Zero Dawn. And they are loving it. And it is the game that I will recommend to the end of time. But for
you just
me,
don't ever play it
so much I never play it.
why don't I ever play it? It's just I am still, once I get to where I want to be with Marvel Heroes, then I probably will actually pick it back
and
up.
dude, we have the same, kind of thing. Like for instance, like as soon as I got the Switch, I actually I tried to run through Horizon Zero Dawn as fast as I could, and I knew I wasn't going to beat it in 3 days, when the Switch came out. The Switch came out, Zelda took over in a really bad way. And for the most part, it's not been an issue of me not wanting to play Horizon Zero Dawn. I do, because the game is fantastic. It's just kind of, I haven't had the time to literally go to the basement to play, because the Switch kind of offers me that flexibility where I can just lay in bed and play, and be comfortable and play for an hour and go to bed. And when I'm gaming in front of a TV, that's it's more of an investment.
Mm-hmm.
I have to really block that time out, as opposed to the Switch where I can just I'm playing, and that's kind of why I love that system so much. What?
Your argument is wholly and utterly invalid. You're blocking the time either way.
Well, yeah, but
not intentionally.
It's not intentional. Okay, so basically your Switch is your phone. Basically, you're just playing Crash. You're just playing some Crash Royale game on your phone, but it's a Switch and it has Zelda on it.
But I'll tell you the real reason why I haven't gone back to it, and it boils down to, this is totally personality thing. I have a group of friends that are ready to roll at a moment's notice in Marvel Heroes. I am a social gamer to my core. I prefer social games as opposed to single-player solitary games. And Horizon Zero Dawn is a solitary single-player game.
Yeah, it's glorious.
So, if there was nobody on...
I was trying to get him to admit to, and it worked out in the end. We got to it.
Yeah. If there was nobody on Marvel Heroes, I think I would not have a hesitation to go back and play Horizon Zero Dawn. That game is fun by yourself, but it's not. It's way more fun when you're playing with friends.
And I wish I was a social gamer, because half the time when I sit down to actually try and play video games, I have US clowns, messaging me all the time, about dumb stuff, and I gotta stop the game, answer the stuff, then go play it. I think that's actually Mark's tactic, is to start running up stuff in the chat, because if we were just playing the game together online, I wouldn't have to worry about that stuff. We could still play and talk. And I really think that's his kind of end goal there with that. But you're not going to beat me. It's not happening.
If you message back, guys, and leave me alone, I would not message you anymore.
Shaming.
I can't speak for him, unfortunately. But
No.
He'll start texting me on the number that cost me 25 cents a text.
I think I deleted that one. I'm not sure. We'll see.
Hope so.
Capcom has entered into a cross-licensing agreement with Bandai Namco to outsource the development of their online play, which is super interesting.
Wow.
That's,
so.
I mean, I get it. If they did a cost benefits analysis and they saw that they are just online play launches have been this monstrous headache for them, and if they're burning a ton of money on it, I could see that outsourcing it would probably be cheaper. And then they don't have to worry about developing that part of it. They can just worry about telling good stories.
Yeah, this totally makes sense, really. I mean, it really does. And compare Tekken 7's launch to any recent launch, and it's been glorious side by
Yeah, it has had its snafus, but like minor compared to anything Capcom's launched recently.
So yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen a federation like that previously, to be honest, because I've never programmed netcode, but my impression is it's not easy.
Yeah.
What could be so tough about it?
Yeah.
Oh, shut up.
The only place you can watch
it works at all, to be honest.
That's where I'm still at.
Whenever it actually like works, I'm like, wow, what kind of like voodoo did they have to pull off to get this?
Which
like,
devil?
You think about it, we play fighting games online.
Yeah.
Relatively well.
From long
that's
distances.
Insanity.
Well, I take it back, Matt. The only thing that has been a smoother launch has actually been Injustice 2.
Yeah, true.
That was a super smooth launch. But yeah, it has come a long way, and Tekken 7 was very successful. Twitch is now the only place to watch Blizzard tournaments other than the Blizzard website. So all their esports, they've signed a 2-year agreement directly with Twitch. So that is a very interesting thing. This is one of 2 major esports news pieces for the week. NBC will be broadcasting Rocket League tournaments. The question that I posed there is the question that I will pose to the two of you. Is this NBC being ahead of the curve and forward thinking, or is it a out of step broadcasting institution attempting to stay relevant?
Where are they actually?
You know, it's actually on NBC, not NBC2.
NBC
proper.
When?
August 5th and 6th, I believe.
Is that like a Sunday afternoon?
I don't know off the top of my head. Let me look at my calendar.
Yeah, if it's showing up at 2 a.m, you know.
Yeah.
A la ESPN 8. No. This was
for Saturday and Sunday. Which makes sense. The tournament being on a set weekend.
Yeah. August 5th and 6th. So that's a real thing.
That's something like they would do for like, say, golf, right? I mean,
well, here's the thing. How expensive is it really to put that on the air? I mean, it's basically equivalent to a reality show, cost-wise. There's really not a ton of production that they have to do.
Well, that's not... It depends. It depends what tack they use. If they have to rent one of the established esports arenas, and then you've got announcers to call the action and...
the tournaments are happening, right? Are they sponsored?
They're not hosting the tournament, right there.
No, they are. These will be the finals of the tournament, is what they are broadcasting. And to my knowledge, they're actually broadcasting it live on location from wherever they're doing it.
Right,
but it's not it's not the Blizzard finals brought to you by NBC. It's they're airing it.
Yeah, NBC's just covering it.
I don't know. Let's look. I'm scrolling on XSplit going, why isn't it scrolling over here? While we get to that, just FYI, the Project Rap Rabbit did not meet its goals. They say they're not going to try another crowdsource campaign.
You're kidding.
No, it didn't even come close. Not anywhere in the ballpark of where it needed to be, which is super sad because I thought that was...
Now, Jam and Earl did, dude.
Private funding thing picks it up and says, oh, hey, we'll pay for this.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm hoping will happen. Dead by Daylight's out on PS4. Injustice 2 came out as the big winner in May for NPD's numbers.
And by the way, the dude from Detroit's trailer thing, there totally was that dude from Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, yeah, gotcha. Legendary Loot is available if you're a Amazon Prime member and sign up for Twitch Prime, which it doesn't cost you anything. You just have to link your Amazon account to Twitch. You automatically get Legendary Loot, so that's cool. The Steam Summer Sale starts tomorrow, so hold on to your pocketbooks.
You missed a great story from E3, actually.
What's that?
The Lego Worlds game introduced Classic Space.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I can't wait for that to hit. I'm waiting for that to hit the Switch before I actually buy it.
That's a game I've not heard anything about. Like, is it doing well? Is it doing bad? How is it?
I don't know. There's not a lot of actual news on it as far as like, the game's numbers or anything like that.
That and the Dragon Warrior one. It's like these are like the two big Minecraft contenders. How are they doing?
Yeah,
So
but
the short answer is NBC is sponsoring this league.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
So they are launching the league themselves. It will be a 2-on-2 Rocket League tournament. The regionals will occur over their Faceit network, which I'm pretty sure is online, with commentators. So there's no real huge cost there. But yes, August 5th through 6th and August 12th and 13th with $100,000 in prize money on the line.
Okay, but still, really, production aside, I mean, there's not a whole lot they have to do. It's not like they have to have like a million cameras set up to catch like like a football game. So it's not like that.
No,
they just need to tap into the screen feed and have a couple cameras and a couple announcers. Like it's nothing crazy that they have to do. So like as far as an investment, it's it's on the level of like basically reality TV. So it's not terribly expensive for them to take a chance and see if it sticks. So I mean, why not?
Yeah,
So,
I actually think with that, I think this is a forward-looking thing on their part. I think they're taking advantage of something. Now, if there were anything else in the world of sports going on that weekend of any note at all, I don't think this would be happening. But they're taking advantage of a dead weekend and they're filling it with something, and that's pretty savvy on their part.
Pillars of Eternity coming to PS4 and Xbox One. CRPG Squee. Rumors of potential leaks of visceral Star Wars game may have leaked. Details on our Twitter feed and on the site, which I still am surprised they didn't announce during the 2017 press conference.
PSX.
Yeah.
PSX.
Spider-Man Homecoming is getting a virtual reality experience tomorrow. So I'm expecting to...
Let us know how that is.
Yeah, I'm a little trepidatious about swinging through the city. I don't know how that's going to feel. I can't imagine good.
Do we know what it's coming to? Because I have to feel like this is coming to like the Google Dream and I have to imagine this is coming to the phone VR at least. Because to get the type of coverage that they're going to want to get.
Yeah.
Actually, if that's coming to the Daydream, I'm all over that tomorrow.
Let me look.
It's blowing my mind that this movie is almost here.
Yeah, super close. I actually really wanted to do the whole Alamo Drafthouse thing, but I don't think we're going to be able to, sadly. But we'll still
I
go
gotta
see
actually
it.
check.
There's
Sorry.
3, not 1, not 2, but 3 movies I want to see coming out this weekend. What the hell is that about?
What's this weekend?
Well, okay, 2 that I want to see and 1 that I promised my wife I'd go see. She wants to see Transformers. The Big Sick.
God.
Oh,
I know. I tried to talk her out of it, but she really wants to see it. I support her in her.
No, I get it, but
Yeah, but sorry.
So that's coming out. The Big Sick comes out this weekend, and Baby Driver, all this weekend.
Oh, that drops this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I
it's
see
like
that.
too many movies. Okay, so Twitter.
Too many movies, too many games, too many everything.
Too many everything. There's no way to keep up with all of it.
No.
Wholeheartedly believe this. I am checking on what it comes out on right now. Stand by.
All confident. Stand by.
Like 3 other actual stories that I want to cover, and then we'll wrap up because I know we're a little behind time.
I'm sorry, I asked the question.
No, it's okay. It is coming out on
And for those who
PSVR,
keep count,
Oculus
yes,
Rift,
that is my
and
third different
HTC.
so far.
Sorry, it's coming out on PSVR, Oculus Rift, and HTC Vive. So all major actual headsets.
Really? Oh,
Oh,
wow.
so it's like interactive.
This is like a legit thing, and this isn't
So-
just an experience thing. Interesting.
Yeah, it looks like a series of mini games that will have you shooting webs, eliminating enemies, and most importantly, swinging through the city. I have played some swinging games and some jumping games in VR.
Some swanging gay.
Some swanging games, and not good. Not good at all. I am a little worried about that, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But still, that'll be out tomorrow, so I'll let you know. Well, I'll let you know as long as I don't have glasses. We'll see. So other news that we need to get to before we wrap up for tonight. Fire Pro Wrestling, launches for $20 very soon on Steam. This is the interesting one. Damon Lindelof is in talks with HBO to create a Watchmen television show. So, and my wife is like, "What?" She loves the Watchmen. So we would be watching the Watchmen in this scenario. Just to clear that up. Good, bad, indifferent.
I'm curious. Is it supposed to be like a retelling of the story, or is it
That's
just
a
a new take on the story? Like there was no information I saw on what it actually was.
Nope.
Is it?
It says developing the classic graphic novel as a TV series.
Okay.
So
I
I
guess.
would imagine it's a retelling with probably a lot more room to breathe.
Yeah, I didn't care for the movie. I think it lends itself to this type of treatment much better than the movie format did. That said, Watchmen for me is a very time and point experience. It's not that the story's not relevant, but the graphic format is definitely a period piece. It kind of existed in the time where it exists. And you have to take it in that context. Otherwise, it's really not enjoyable, I guess.
Do you think we'll ever see a Squadron Supreme?
No.
Since it's basically the exact same story, but from Marvel.
Marvel does do the direct-to-video movies like DC does. They're generally not as good, but I could see them maybe trying to do something like that. Maybe.
I only ask because eventually they're going to have to explain where Hyperion came from.
No, they never have to explain that. No.
Why start explaining things now?
Metroid Prime 4 apparently is coming in 2018 for the Nintendo Switch.
Man,
So just FYI.
I really like the Prime series. Well, okay, I liked 1 and 3. I did not like 2. That I was not expecting that. I was sitting there screaming at the screen. Well, not screaming at the screen, but I was like, "We already have Metroid 4. What are you talking about?" And then it went Prime, and I'm like, "Oh."
Just as an FYI, there is a double discount sale on the PSN right now.
Yeah, and
Trying
it
to
is
get
hella good.
It is deep.
Yes.
Deep catalog, huge savings. So go check that out.
And there's some really good. There's some crap in there, but there's some really good stuff in there too.
What's some good ones?
I don't remember. It
Pretty
off the top
much
of my-
everything that you could want that's current. Believe it or not. They have a ton of stuff in there. This is probably the biggest piece of news. ZeniMax has asked the judge that is overseeing the case right now to block all Oculus Rift sales or rule that that Oculus has to give them 20% of every headset sold, which if you're paying attention, the headsets are alone are $599, so you'd be talking 20% of $600. times the
120
number.
bucks.
$120 times the number of units sold, which we estimated earlier at 240,000.
That's a lot of bucks.
That's a lot of bucks. And they asked the they asked the judge to up the damage from finding Oculus guilty from 500 million to $1 billion because, and this is true, the Facebook controller said that does not impact them in any meaningful way, the $500 million.
Nice.
And that's on record. Facebook, in their response to this, is like, well, prove that we're still using the code. You don't know that we're still using the code. And they're like, the entire platform is based on this code. And then they're like, we shouldn't have to do that because it will take, too long to unintegrate their code and, reverse engineer a new way to do it. And that will have a material impact on the company. That's their argument. I'm like, the judge is going to be like, yeah, don't steal code. That's the point. This is like really weird. I'm very interested to see what happens with this case. Super interested. So that's actually a really big thing. And the thing that's crazy is that Vive did play a role in this, in that they worked open and collaboratively with the Oculus team, but did not require contracts or anything else. And then Oculus just took all the stuff and didn't give anything back to Vive. And then when they launched, and when they got bought out by Facebook, they actually hired a bunch of people away from Vive to go work on Oculus. So a lot of not nice stuff by Facebook going on there.
I seriously, and I can't believe that with all the money and everything, and especially they had the advantage of the early buzz too.
Yeah.
That they're not the ones just running rampant over the market.
Well, and what's worse is that they are funding exclusive games.
Yeah.
And they are the smallest segment. So you're segmenting, and I get there are some development houses that says, hey, without this secured funding, we couldn't make a game in the first place.
No, yeah.
But that's still, like, it makes sense to do, like, a timed exclusive, but the entire footprint of the industry is so small that actually only hurts consumers. Because there are certain games that are on Oculus now that are exclusives that I would pay money for, but I simply can't.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes no sense for their business interests to do it that way. So it seems really weird to me. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see. The judge was pretty much like, you guys need to make a settlement because you really don't want me to go Big Brother and snip this way or snip that way, because one of you ain't gonna like it. And if you don't settle soon, I'll make my decision. So this is going to wrap up pretty quick, one way or another. So I'll be very interested to see how this all shakes out. But ZeniMax may get exactly what they want. That's going to bring us to the end of the Newspocalypse. Hooray! No more Newspocalypse.
So yeah, Dave, if you want to get Lego Worlds, for example, it's 20 instead of 30. The sale. Yeah. Jackbox 3 for $10. Overcooked Gourmet Edition for $10, half off. BioShock bundle is half off for $30. Lego Harry Potter is $12, which is 60% off. The Witcher 3, if you want the complete edition, half off at $25. Both Darksider remixes are deeply cut off, 80 and 60% off. Hitman, the entire first season, for 60% off at $24. So yeah, that PSN sale is
and
pretty
the catalog
serious
is pretty serious.
Yeah,
so,
it's like 10 pages of
So that will bring us then to final thoughts. We will start with you, good sir, Matt. Your final thoughts for tonight.
Final thoughts for tonight. I have yet, and I touched on this earlier, but you know, we all grew up in kind of a dearth of our content, right? I mean, there was always stuff there, and there was the short sci-fi burst of the 90s, and that kind of went away. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to handle the
all
content
quality
overload that
content?
we have. Yeah, the content overload right now is to such a level that there are things I'm not watching. There's things I'm not reading. There's things I'm not playing that I know I should be and I would enjoy. I have no idea how to manage all this. And then know that there's kids out there that are just watching YouTube all day. I don't understand. Not that there's not good stuff on YouTube, but
they're not watching good stuff. Let's be honest.
They're not watching the real good stuff. You know, it's just, there is just so much out there, and I'm missing so much, and it's frustrating to me. If anyone's got an answer other than win a lawsuit about hot coffee getting poured in my lap or something, you know, on how you do this, let me know, because I am flabbergasted at the amount of not just content, but quality content that's out there right now.
So I think the short answer is that we are actually facing a real Steam. You know, Steam, when it started, was similar to what we were used to growing up. There was a trickle of games that came out, and it was hard, but it was still possible to stay on top of it. And now there are so many games that come out that you could have a fantastic game and it gets pushed to page 327 6 hours after it comes out.
Right.
And it's a case of, I think what we're going to see is that we will see an emergence of a new type of YouTuber / Twitch person, which is that of a curator. Like, you will see people who do nothing but recommend things to other people, kind of like what I did at the comic shop. You know, I would read everything that came out, and when people came in, they'd tell me the stories and characters that they like, and then I was able to say, oh, well, if you like this, then you're going to like Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane. Or...
Which was a great book, by the way.
I am aware. That's why I recommended it to you. But, yeah, you know, the point was that, you know, I think you will see an emergence of curator types who become popular because they are good at doing that type of curation. Oh, do you guys want to see something funny? Here's the things that you see. And you saw that minimally with, like, the Ray Johnson shows or whatever that was, you know, a while back on YouTube.
Right.
But I think we'll see it more for other things. Like, hey, are you looking for a new sci-fi TV show? Here's the top 5 sci-fi TV shows that came out in 2017. Here's the top 5 that came out in the last 5 years. Here's the top 5 that came out. And so that, and we have some of that now already, but I think you'll see verticals of channels that do nothing but curate. And that will be what makes them popular. Because that's the only way I can see it working. Because right now we are so inundated with quality stuff that you're right, there's no way to keep up. I can't watch, we still haven't watched like the 3 shows that we have on the queue, and I still want to start, what was the one you mentioned before? Mirror Black. No, not Orphan Black.
Orphan Black?
No, not Orphan Black. The other one. Black Mirror. Yeah. Yeah. I still want to start that. And there's 6 other shows that I want to start. I heard about
the great thing about Black Mirror is each episode is self-contained.
Yeah, it's Twilight Zone. So.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
So you can really just take a bite out of that whenever you want and not have to worry about missing out on story or remembering anything. Each episode's self-contained. It's fantastic.
I still haven't watched season 3 or whatever the last one is. So yeah, I actually thought the show was wow, I can't talk right now. I actually thought the show was trolling me because I went to watch episode 1 and it didn't work. I thought it was like something about the show was actually like spoofing that it wasn't working over the stream because, you know, its whole thing is the tech stuff. And no, it just, YouTube was having a fit that day for some reason, but it was hilarious.
So, yeah, what was your final thought?
I don't know. Too much stuff.
Oh, okay, too much stuff.
Good stuff. But but just I think getting enjoyment out of the things that you are able to get to is more important than trying to consume everything ultimately. And that's the realization I've come to. I mean, this is the year of buying no new games, right? It's finding the joy and the pleasure and the enjoyment out of what you have and what's available to you, and you can find enjoyment in whatever it is that you have access to. It just, there's so much stuff. Just, I'm learning how to try to just come to terms with not being able to consume it all and figuring out what I want to consume and just being happy with what it is I am consuming. I'm not perfect at it yet, but I'm working on it.
I almost look at it like back in the 80s, like when we had
3 channels that we could watch.
Well,
Internet.
No, like back in the 80s, like for like take a real specific example of it, like anime in the 80s. Like we thought we didn't have a lot of it, so like what we did get, we just tended to really enjoy. But really, actually, what was happening is we were only getting the best of the best.
Right.
Right.
And then after that, like once it started becoming popular, then everybody did a land grab to try and get everything and just bring everything out. And we kind of realized anime is just like everything else. It's not some magical thing. There's a lot of it that sucks. So we're under a complete deluge, if you will, of entertainment. And I kind of just take the opportunity to, well, really all I have to do is just consume the top 1% of it, all the best stuff, and that's not too terrible. So I'm not watching the B series on Sci-Fi that I might have thought was pretty cool a while ago. Oh, make get to that when I have some time, but otherwise I can consume some top tier stuff and it's not so terrible.
Is that your final thought?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Okay.
Don't watch terrible stuff. That's Dave's advice.
Yeah.
It's just we're at a point where we don't have to settle for crap. So
this is the one time Dave does not want you to listen to Bernie Sanders. Engage in the 1%, the top 1%.
And relish in the 1%.
That's right. So this is the part of the show where we also, before I get to my final thought, where we verbally thank all of our patrons who have donated at the $5 a month or above level. If you would like to support us, you can do so by heading over to patreon.com/gamersledge, where you can get your name on every show that we do for as little as $1 a month. But to our patrons, Regina, Bobby, John, Naomi, Justin, and Ian, thank you very much for supporting the show. And you can follow us at our website, gamersledge.com, at our Twitch, which is twitch.tv/gamersledge, our YouTube channel, gamersledge.com, all spelled out because Gamersledge was taken, and then facebook.com/gamersledge, twitter.com/gamersledge, stumble upon Tumblr, all that good stuff, all the rest of it. You know the drill. That's going to bring me to my final thought. And I'm actually going to echo kind of Matt. I have been thinking a lot lately about the fact that Matt likes to call me flighty when it comes to games because I don't finish anything, because I have to be part of the conversation of what's new, what's going on. But I do that for the site, for us, and that type of stuff, and I don't regret it. But I have been trying to, and that's actually part of the reason why I've been sticking with Marvel Heroes, is because I have enough money invested in it now. I want to actually platinum the game. And what does that require? A good chunk of time. That I'm down to 3 trophies to get the platinum on it.
Nice.
And so I'm trying to finish it. The funny part is I'm trying to finish it before the game actually launches. Because the game doesn't officially launch until 15 days from now, 12 days from now. So I'm trying to platinum the game before it actually officially launches. Because once it launches, there's going to be a ton of new stuff to do. There's going to be an entire new difficulty level. There's going to be more story and probably more characters. So it's like one of those things that like I'm desperately scrambling to say, okay, this is my snapshot in time of what this game looks like. I need to finish it. And so that's one of the reasons that I am spending all my time in it, because I enjoy it. I like the loot grind, but also I'm trying to finish it.
If they launch and add a second platinum, will you go for the second platinum?
Is there a game with a second platinum in existence?
So far, no. So far, because there's a point limit to how many trophies you can have. Sony will grant waivers based on different stuff, but it seems like from what we've heard, it's really inconsistent. It's basically keep calling back till you get the guy that tells you yes at Sony. It seems to be the methodology on how to do this.
Yeah.
But no, we have seen games. I think there's 1 or 2 games out there that launched initially without a platinum and then later had a platinum patched in, or no platinum on download version and platinum on disc version or something to that effect. But yeah, I'm just curious because it sounds like if they're going to add a whole bunch of new content and new mechanics and stuff, why not throw in a second platinum if they don't have the point, if they have the point buffer to do it?
So short answer is if they do that, 100% yes, I would go for it. What I am more petrified about is that they will modify the list to get the platinum. And so that's why I'm like running to try and get it, because the one holdout, the one that's taking the longest, is they have these things in the game called legendary relics. And legendary relics are basically XP sponges. And there are 5 tiers in it, and each one is like level 1 is 30 million XP. That's tier 1. Tier 2 is 150 million XP. Tier 3 is 300 million XP. And it's 5 tiers. So by the time you're done, I'm pretty sure the 5th tier is going to be like 1 billion XP. So I'm like grinding like a mofo trying to get this done, because I'm petrified that they're going to add 16 new trophies with all the new content because they have points left over or whatever, kind of like you're saying. Right. I just want to get what's there done and out of the way. And if they added a second platinum, I would definitely do it because I loved the game that much. This is like, for me, Diablo 3 never got its hooks in me like Diablo 2 did. This is my Diablo 3. Or this is my Diablo 2, however you want to look at that.
Right.
This is the one that I am, and because I have enough friends on at any given point in time that, what did you learn today? What's the trick today? What's going on? It's constantly evolving. That to me keeps it fresh and engaging. And then there's a lot of things where, I've got guys that I'm rolling with that are hardcore MMO players who have come over to this game, who played it on PC. But one of the things that's really messing with everyone right now is that how it was on PC is nothing like it is on console. So in a way, this is a brand new game. No one knows what the builds are. We're all having to figure it out at the same time. So it's got some of that mystique about it that you don't really get with games anymore. And so kind of like when Pokemon Go launched, everyone was meeting up on playgrounds to say, did you know that if you flick it this way, it does this or that, or that you can do curveballs or stuff like that. All of it was unknown because there was no manual and nothing was going on. So that's another reason I like this game, is that we're all still figuring it out together. And so I'll have these guys who, like, I consider myself a hardcore player. These guys are like, they do nothing but MMOs, and they'll sit there and say, so I've got these boots that do this and it gives this set of bonuses, but then I've got this other set of boots that I'm thinking about replacing it with that have these completely different stats. Which one's better? And we have to sit there and try and figure out, from what we know of the framework, what's going to be more beneficial to the build that they're doing. That's like incredibly fun to me. It's exactly what Dave said. It's a friggin' spreadsheet. Yeah, it's spreadsheet game, but you don't have to go that deep.
Authoring the FAQ on GameSpot, Dave, is what I'm asking right now.
You mean the one that's already been submitted?
Booyah!
And it's on GameFAQs, not GameSpot.
Okay, sorry, yeah, I grabbed the wrong name.
But
Sorry.
yes, I did submit our beginner's guide to GameFAQs because there are no facts for it right now.
Which is kind of crazy because you'd think there'd be some super hardcore 13-year-old with nothing better to do than. And the trophies you're getting are super rare. Like
Yeah.
Super.
And
I was actually curious about that. Is submitting these guides actually something that's dying down? Because like I know, and I don't want to sit there and like joke that like like oh millennials don't do anything or anything like that. But I'm saying like but younger kids tend to not do that sort of thing.
So I would not say that's the reason. The reason is the rise of the wiki. Because so many places have wikis now that are dedicated to that, so they don't have to write a fact. They just do a little portion, add their contribution to the community. Hey, I'm done. I don't have to write a whole fact. So I don't think, and there are still people that are like super dedicated to one series and that's all they play, and you see those people writing facts for it. But one of the interesting things is I actually started thinking about this exact same question when I started playing Persona 5. Because if you go back and you look at the facts for Persona 4, there are day-by-day facts of you need to do this on this day, then do this on the next day, then do this on the next day, so that you can make sure that this stat is sufficiently built by this fight so that you can get this trophy in this way. There's none of that for Persona 5, which just came out this year. There are... And the interesting thing is that the game has been out in Japan for like 6 months before it came to the United States. And there's still, the last time I looked, no day-by-day fact to make sure to help you get a platinum trophy in the game. So I think that how people are interacting with those types of things are changing. I think they are still doing it, but they're doing much smaller bite-sized contributions unless they're one of those dedicated holdouts that are still only playing one game and that's all they're doing. But that's just my 2 cents. My thoughts on it, because I was thinking about that too. But I was absolutely floored that there are no facts whatsoever for Marvel Heroes. Wow. So I made sure that I submitted it. That reminds me I need to check on my submission and see what they say. So we'll check that out. So we'll end the show as we always do with a sage piece of advice. And I'm going to get you guys this.
Run now.
No. Simple. No, stop. I don't want to do that yet.
Yep, that is the correct thing to be doing.
Yes.
No, that is not
the
the right
outro.
thing to do.
There we go.
So the piece of advice for this week is, why was 6 afraid of 7?
Because 7, 8, 9.
No. Because 7's a registered 6 offender.
Oh dear.
Until next week, game on!
I can't.
No.
Is Dave still there?